Hola, hello, how are you? I hope that you've been having a fantastic day, and thank you so much for joining us again here. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Southern African time. It is very, very, very hot. I hope that you are all well, that you've been having a very good day of work in your studies as well, and that you are excited to see this week finally coming to an end, that have been a successful one, and you are also ready for your well-deserved rest. As we are also approaching already the end of the first month of 2021, can you believe it? We would like to let you know, to those of you that still don't, that 2 days ago, it's going to be 2 days at 11 o'clock in the evening tonight, we have launched the House of Portugal website. So our shop is live. Our products are live, our services as well. And I really invite you to come and see what is all that we are doing. But the most important thing right now is to let you know that we are soon to reopen the academy, the House of Portugal Academy, and we are going to start with a beginner's level into Portuguese. And it's just about our courses, and our academy is born to start in February. So please mind, follow these daily news. I'm going to let you know exciting news that I am sure that you're going to be happy to learn, and with giveaways that you don't want to miss out. So as yesterday we were celebrating the launch of the website of the House of Portugal, today we're going to continue talking about the reconquest of Portugal. So we started coming off the Moors influence in Portugal, on what is today's Portugal and how today's Portugal started, how it was formed, with who, in what year. So yesterday, remember, we stopped more or less in the year of 1129 with the Batalha de São Mamede, and the history says that it was actually in 1139 that this battle took place, and that Dom Afonso Henriques won the battle with his mother's and grandfather's troops, and proclaimed himself as king, and Portugal as a kingdom. And I am sorry if you hear a yep in the background. I have 3 doggies. This is Minnie. Minnie, come and say hi. Cooper, come here, Coops. So 2 miniature pinchers. So Minnie and Cooper, and then an Irish setter, which is a little bit of our drama queen, and she likes to jump around very much. So she's yappy there at the background, but you will soon meet her, I'm sure. So let us pick up where we started yesterday. So we stopped yesterday with the foundation of Portugal as a kingdom, right? So 4 years later, Afonso VII of Leon Castile, he recognized Portugal as a separate independent kingdom only 4 years later, as did the Pope Alexander in 1169. So today we're going to have a long chat. So what I recommend you to do is to go and grab yourself a cup of coffee or a tea or a refreshment and meet me here in 30 seconds. Okay? Let's do that. Okay, fantastic. 30 seconds and I'll meet you right now. we are. Really? 30 seconds already gone? Well done. So let us carry on with our story, shall we? Okay, great. So, as I was saying, Afonso Henriques continued to capture land from the Moors, and by the end of 1147, he reconquered Lisbon with the help of the English, the Flemish, the German, and the French crusaders. Évora was taken a little bit later in 1166, and the Algarve only in 1249. Quite a long time. Why? Because Algarve, it is the province that was the closest with the Northern Africa. So it was a very, 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 very strong Moorish feud. And remember, Alentejo, Allah, Algarve, the very last Allah, and the Muslim God. So at this point, Portugal's conquest was complete, and Portugal became Europe's first state to reach the limits of its territorial expansion, which remain unchanged until today. So it is the only country, and it was the first in Europe and the only one, the first one in the world, to remain with these limits, geographic limits, until today. And you ask, where to see medieval Portugal? Okay, so of the numerous castles that Portugal has, they built or rebuilt after the Reconquest, the most impressive are the Guimarães, which is the one that you have just seen in the photo of today's meet-up, but also the Castelo de Almourol, which is almost like a small little ilho, like is like an island in the river, in the Tagus river, and then the Castelo de Bragança, Castelo de Leiria, and of course, Castelo de Obidos, and the old citadel or citadel within walls. Also, you can see the cathedrals in Porto and Lisbon and Lisboa, Évora, Braga, and Coimbra. They also date from this time, as well as smaller churches throughout the country. So this was all also when the monasteries of Alcobaça and Batalha at the Templars' castle in Tomar, which are three of the country's most impressive monuments, were built. If you have an interest by Templars or by Crusaders, you surely don't want to miss out Alcobaça, Batalha, or Tomar castles and cathedrals, as well as the Sintra later in time Quinta da Regaleira. After Portugal was able to expel the Moors, neighboring Castile or Castella, which is now Spain, tried to do the same. They achieved that goal only in 1492. Hence, the city of Seville is very, 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 very much impregnated in a Moorish influence until today. But over those years, it also tried to take over Portugal. Yes. So when you will say that, oh, the nuestros hermanos, or our brothers, the Spanish, let me tell you that diplomatically, yes, but at heart, not really so much. So there was several invasion attempts, ending with a Portuguese victory in the Battle of Aljubarrota in 1385 during the Rei Dom João reign. His reign then saw the beginning of Portugal's colonial expansion in Africa and the voyages of discovery, which made Portugal rise as the leading maritime and colonial power in Western Europe. And Lisbon developed into a major commercial city, And that is why cities up in the north, like Vila do Conde, were so fundamental in the shipping industry, which remains until today. Later in the year 1415, the trading post of Ceuta in Morocco was captured. Years later, the Rei Dom João's son, the Prince Henry, called Prince Henry the Navigator, promoted voyages of discovery, and his school of navigation in Sagres, which is the western point of Europe, was founded. At this point, the Portuguese caravel was created. I'm sure that you have seen all of those caravels with the white sails and reddish with the red cross. Yes, so that is the caravel. This ship was rounder and better suited for the Atlantic, moved entirely by lateen or square sails, and requiring a smaller crew than the previous ships. So as a result, the Portuguese were the first Europeans to open the way into the Atlantic, discovering the islands of Madeira, Azores, and Cape Verde. So they sailed down Western Africa, reaching the mouth of the Congo in 1482 to cross the equator to round and name the Cape of Good Hope in today's South Africa. So this was Bartolomeu Dias. And to reach India by sea from the west, which was the navigator already, Vasco da Gama. They were the first to set a foot in South America with the discovery of Brazil by Pedro Álvares Cabral, and were the first Westerners in Ceylon, Sumatra, Malacca, Timor, and the Spice Islands of the Moluccas, the first Europeans to trade with China and Japan, establishing a trading post in Macau, which was the first European settlement in China and part of Portugal until midnight of 1999, midnight to the year 2000. After a 500-year agreement for the geographic and political administration of Macau for 500 years on behalf of Portugal, and after those 5 years handed over back to China, which happened on that day. And they were also the first to see Australia 200 years before Captain Cook. So you say that, oh, really? Yes, really. The Corte Real brothers also reached the Newfoundland in 1500, and sailing for Spain, Portuguese explorer Magalhães, or Magalhães, in Portuguese Magalhães, was the first to circumnavigate the globe. And Cabrillo was the first to explore the coast of California. Did you know all of this? Do you still believe that, Portugal is a province of Spain, or that Spanish were the conquistadors? Okay. I hope that you got enlightened today. So thanks to the worldwide trade, Portugal enjoyed an upsurge of prosperity, making it the wealthiest country in Europe. During this period, Rei Manuel I, so King Manuel I, marked the exuberance of the age with a lavish Manueline style of architecture, still seen today throughout Portugal, especially in Lisbon's Torre de Belém, or Belém's Tower. All of you that like the Pastéis de Belém would know the place, and also the iconic Mosteiro dos Jerónimos, or Jerónimos Monastery. And now you ask me, where can we see Portugal's golden age? All done. The unique Manueline style of architecture developed during the time of was developed during Portugal's Golden Age. The most impressive buildings are the Belém Tower and the Jerónimos Monastery, where the explorer Vasco da Gama is buried. In Lisbon's Belém area by the Tagus River, almost at the mouth. And this area is also very famous for being where the ships departed from and returned to after their voyages. So the pavement in front of the Discoveries monument shows a map with the routes of the discoveries in the 15th and 16th centuries. Also, if you want to know more, you perhaps would like to go to the Maritime Museum by the monastery, which illustrates the rapid progress in shipbuilding with navigational instruments like astrolabes and the 16th century maps, replicas of caravels, and etc. I am sure that when you look at my live transmissions, then from my office, not from my lounge, you see a map of this 15th century map with the replicas of caravels and the New World found as well. Another area famous for its role during the discoveries is absolutely the town of Sagres, where the school, the maritime school, was in the Algarve province, where there is a giant pebble. It's a pebble wind compass that measures 43 meters in diameter, 141 foot of a compass. That's big. And it's said to have been used by Prince Henry, the navigator. In the late 16th century, the King Sebastian was determined to take Christianity to Morocco. And it's said that he got lost in the fog, never returned. So he, a romantic, very young, living in the Castelo de Sintra, stormed off to the north of Africa, to the crate of the Moors, determined to take Christianity. He railed a force of 18,000 men, but either he was killed or no one knows. He just disappeared in a battle along with 8,000 others. So it said that he will come back in a foggy day. His successor, Cardinal Henrique, because he was too young and he was not married, and the story says that he was not like really given to like woman marriage and stuff, but again, we don't know. He left no succession, so the Cardinal Henrique, took over the throne. Another opportunity for the Spanish. So in the year 1580, when Henrique died, the Rei Dom Sebastian uncle, Philip II of Spain, claimed for himself the Portuguese throne. So Philip II of Spain became Philip I of Portugal, and promised a purely personal union that would leave his new kingdom as independent as before, guarantee the separation of the two governments, and promised that the Portuguese language and laws should be used in the governance of the country. Well, Philip's reign lived up to his promise, but under his son and grandson, Spain let the English and Dutch strip Portugal of valuable foreign possessions, and Lisbon declined as a commercial center with the competition from the harbours in England and Holland. These marked also the beginning of South Africa to be taken by the Dutch and the English, The Dutch, they were always looking for land because they were continually claiming land to the sea, and England as an important stop to piracy or pillage of the ships coming full of spices and silks from India and China. In 1640, leading personalities staged a well-planned rising in Lisbon. And, I'm sorry, this is history at its best, and it's not about taking sciences, okay? So this is just very important to know where everything started. So in the 1640, these personalities, they easily empowered the sentinels guarding public buildings in the absence of any force capable of suppressing the rising, and a new ruler was acclaimed, and the Iberian Union ended. Later, a treaty of friendship and commercial cooperation with Britain ensured Portugal's restored crown, but also guaranteed British predominance in Portugal. 2 years after the treaty, Portugal's princess Catarina de Bragança, Catherine of Bragança, married England's King Charles II and introduced the tea to the British court. And with this treaty, which is the oldest treaty in place in the world, Portugal and Britain today in 2021 can, at loud voice, say that they are the only nations in the world that have kept to an agreement for over 500 years. In the year 1755, a devastating earthquake shattered Lisbon, killing thousands of people and destroying most of the buildings. And you should know all of this. And you can ask me, but Ines, why are you on about telling us all of these things? Because I told you, we are just about to reopen the House of Portugal Academy, where we are going to restart teaching Portuguese. Now, Portuguese is not only made of language, it's also the teaching of the culture. And the culture, in terms of Portugal, it is based in a very comprehensive background and backbone. It's important to understand today's Portugal by understanding all of these things. For an example, that in the year 1755, after this devastating earthquake, Lisbon disappeared, totally disappeared. The town was wrecked to ground. Thousands of people died. Most of the city buildings destroyed. So the prime minister at the time, the Marquis of Pombal, which was original from Oeiras, a little bit out of Lisbon center, directed the rebuilding of the city. And remember, the city until now was pretty much Roman and Moorish, with the 7 hills of Lisbon and the valley sitting, so the Rocio Valley, and then Moraria and Alto, Bairro Alto and Alto de São João and all of these other, and Alfama. Moraria was still where the remaining Moors gathered, the ones that didn't leave after the Christianity was reconquested Portugal. So, and it's also said where Fado was born. So the Marquis de Pombal directed the rebuilding of the city. By the turn of the century, the country went through better times. Much of Lisbon had been rebuilt. The peasant class was stable. The middle class was prospering, all presided over by the relatively considerate government of Queen Maria I. Maria I. At about this time, however, events in the other European countries threatened Portugal. For example, in France, Napoleon declared a blockage of English trade, and the English responded with a continental blockage. So the French insisted that the Portuguese close their ports to the English, open them to Spanish and French ships, and arrest all Englishmen in the country and confiscate their property. Not to meet these demands would result in invasion. Now remember that Portugal had a treaty in place since Catarina de Bragança. So Portugal had always a friendly relationship with England. So the government procrastinated. France and Spain, Catholic countries as well, then signed the Treaty of Fontainebleau, which gave Napoleon the right to invade Portugal through Spain. They agreed that after the invasion, Portugal would be divided between France and Spain. The French occupied the country in 1807, and the Portuguese royal family fled to Brazil. About 50,000 French and Spanish troops roved the countryside, arresting, killing, plundering, and raping as they pleased. In 1808, Portugal got help from the British, their oldest allies. With their help, headed by General Sir Arthur Wellesley, defensive lines were built around Lisbon, and then when Napoleon reached the fortification, he retreated. After the war, a new constitution was proclaimed and Brazil was given independence. The years that followed were marked by political confusion, and all of the churches, museums, and palaces in Portugal were totally ripped from their treasures. Treasures they are now found in the French Museum. So I hope that after 30 minutes of a very, very, very important age, you are now ready to find out more, and who knows, perhaps to advance to learning Portuguese. So why don't you go to www.thehouseofportugal.com, go on to the language services and find out what is that the House of Portugal can do in terms of teaching Portuguese, culture, immigration, investing in Portugal, assisting with financial immigration, and even property in Portugal. How can we at the House of Portugal be of assistance? And if you're really looking onto learning Portuguese, please carry on coming every afternoon around 4:30 in Southern African time and have a meeting with me. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow at approximately the same time. I hope that you have enjoyed. Me personally, I did. So hello to all of you that are watching us now live, and hello and thank you to all of you that will be coming to watch our videos. Please send us your questions, your comments, and I will make sure that I will answer every single one of you. I hope that you really had enjoyed it. And in case that you are finding like these meetings, these daily meetings interesting, please put the word around. Let your family and your friends and maybe your colleagues know of what is happening here every day in the afternoon, and just share. And if it's not too much to ask, if you really enjoy these times, depending if you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, put a like, subscribe our channel. It will help us to bring this word to more people and who knows who is out there that really would like to have this opportunity and have access to all of these free content. Thank you very much. I shall see you tomorrow. And don't forget, visit us at www.thehouseofportugal.com. See you tomorrow. Take care and bye-bye.